Hey again. Okay, so my next technology next is actually an add-on that I have found for both. Well, actually, I found it for Google Docs, but they have stated that there is one for Microsoft and for the Apple systems. It's an add-on that's called MathType. Now, many of you are probably aware of MathType. Those of you who write equations and put them into papers and everything. But what stood out for me in this was the chem formulas. Being a chemistry teacher, hey, that's a big thing for me. So, kind of do some examples with the chem type here. Once this loads up, okay, so you get to this comment box. Yeah, if you have a pad, you can go to a handwritten mode if you have a stylus. So that's a nice thing. A couple things with it. We'll start with chemical equations. If I do a lot of teaching, I have a lot of things with PowerPoints, with slides, and all the equations are already in there. But sometimes the equations have errors in them, and you can't change them. And I'd like to kill them for that. But hey, anyway. So this is a way that if you're going to write up your own stuff, you can write in your own equations. So with a chemical equation, as you can see, hey, we've got they start with water here, but actually if you slide in and you'll see the small arrow to the right here, it will take you to a periodic table, and you can actually click on any of the elements, and that will be included for your reaction if you want to include it. So if we're just going to do a simple reaction here, yes, I can click on this. I can get my potassium, but I can also use you can also use your keyboard for this. If you slide over here, you can actually see where there are some superscripts and subscripts for this. So we'll click on here to and to get out of the subscript or superscript, just hit your arrows to point off to the next one, and we'll make this potassium sulfate, so K2SO4, and we can add in that this is an aqueous solution of that. So again, we could just hit your arrows to continue on with that. Do note that if you were hit your space bar, it would go to the next subscript or superscript for that. So do take care of that. Okay, so we've got the potassium sulfate. We'll react this with, and again, if we go to our periodic table, we'll react this with silver nitrate. And actually, we can come back and balance the equation here in a minute. So silver, NO, and again, you've got your 3. And again, if I want to put another subscript with that, and that would be an aqueous solution. Okay, so we've written the first part of our equation. We do have arrows here, so we can hit that. That will take us to our products. And if you know your chemical reactions, this is an exchange reaction. So the silver and the potassium are going to switch places. That's going to give you products of potassium nitrate. Again, we'll hit the superscript or a subscript with this, and again, AQ. And a nice thing, once you start a parentheses, it'll give you both parts of that parentheses, and silver. Again, we'll hit this superscript, make sure our formulas are correct. And you've got your equation. And yes, we do need to go in and balance this, so we can go back and add in the coefficients as we need to. So this is a kind of a really simple way to write out chemical equations, so that if you do have slides, if you do have PowerPoints that have equations that are errors, you can go in and change them out with that. And then just click on insert, and it'll add it into your document there, and you've got your equation. Also with this, if you go through, again, go back to chemical formulas, not only do you need to write it for your chemical equations, but if you've got some of the mathematical equations for chemistry. So for example, our ideal gas law, when we can keep that simple, PV equals nRT. Hey, that's nothing major for this. Or if we want to get more complicated, say we want the reaction to measure the enthalpy of a reaction. And you've got different aspects up here, but we do have mathematical symbols. So you do have your sigma sign here. And again, we'll change this. We'll go back here. You've got your second tab here has a number of symbols that you can use, your mathematical symbols, infinity signs, pi. If you know your enthalpy equation, you know your delta, that's your change in your substance. So H, and again, let's go back here. And again, you can have the superscript and subscript. And for some cases, for your Word programs, not the easiest thing to put into if you don't know your keyboard shortcuts. So we'll just put in here reaction for the subscript, and for the superscript, we'll put the not. That's telling us, hey, our reaction is in a standard state. And again, now, and actually, we made a mistake here, so we're going to get rid of that sigma sign. But again, now, as you know, if you know change in reactions, that's always final minus initial. So again, we'll add in our sigma. We'll go back here. And again, just add in our superscript and subscript. Not products, delta H of formation. And again, it's just a matter of moving your cursor up. A little bit time consuming, but you know, as you're writing out equations, that's going to be an important thing. Take the time to make sure it's right with this. And again, go back here, find your tools. And again, it's a matter of moving your cursor each time. Don't move, don't use your arrows unless you're going left or right, is what I have found. And we have our equation. And again, we can hit insert, and now those equations are plugged into our document for this. And again, this is going to give you an opportunity to write out some equations, to make corrections on slides. This is an add-on not only for docs, but you can put it in for slides. This is also an add-on for the Microsoft Office and for Apple Suites too. So with that, this is MathType, an app for documents.